My name is Tae Smith, and I'm the dresser for the Museum of Modern Art exhibition, Items is Fashion Modern. Most often you see garments in exhibitions on mannequins, but mannequins are difficult because you have to think of so many aspects. You have to think of what color do you want the mannequin, what kind of gesture. The history of mannequins themselves is the history of what people look like or what the ideal is. So you have to be very careful about what you're portraying. You know, what your garment looks like and what the mannequin looks like may be saying two different things. So you need to make sure that they're both talking about the same thing. The most important aspect of an exhibition is the storyline. And so the first thing I do is I really talk to the curator of the show. They have to have their object list. If they don't have their object list, I can't point them in the right direction because it's all about the object and how they want to portray these objects. So this is a little black dress section, and as you can see, they represent dresses from the 1920s, which is the Chanel, to the 90s. This is the Versace safety pin. This is the early 60s, and this is from Givenchy. This is the kinematic dress. This was a 3D printed dress. So what we're going to do for this exhibition is put all of these on invisible mannequins. It's going to look like it's floating, and you can really look at the outline and just how they interact with the other garments on that platform. Where we could, we really tried to stay away from the body as much as we could, because this is not a traditional fashion exhibition. And so we didn't want it to look like a traditional fashion exhibition. These are one of the 4 types of mannequins that are going to be in the exhibition. This is the buckram mannequin. They start out as this. This is millinery fabric that hat makers use. And once you wet it down, you can mold it. I used a dress form to create this mold. This is what it looks like when it comes off the dress form. As you can see, these are the pencil marks. This is a halter top black dress for the little black dress section. And I'm gonna come back and cut away at the armholes on both sides. This buckram, this is for a strapless dress, a strapless Christian Dior dress. So as you can see, I cut away at the top, so this has already been cut. And this is a finished mannequin. This is padded. It has felt and then batting to give it some shape. It needed to be a little bit more curvy. The garment, the black dress that's going to be on this is a Givenchy. It's a chemise style, but it has a little peplum at the bottom. Once you put the garment on this mannequin, all you're going to see is the garment. This whole thing is going to disappear. The lining is going to match the inside of the dress. So when you look at this, you think that visually it's going to look like the inside of the dress. So none of this white or any of this is going to show. This is all just to support and create the silhouette of the dress. These 2 buckram torsos were made from different mannequins. And when you first look at them, they look very similar. But kind of like people, they may have the same measurements, but the proportions are really different. If you look at the bust line is really different than this one. And the shape, the shoulder line, the slope of the shoulder, this is a lot more square. But since this is the jacket that is going on, this is a very form-fitting jacket, it needed to have the slope of the jacket. That was important. So little details like that, like measurements and the back of from your shoulder blades, those proportions. And we also have fiberglass mannequins, which are the traditional mannequins that you see either in stores, in retail stores, or in most exhibitions. It's a high fashion posture, sort of that slouch. The bust line is different. It's a little bit lower. Some, like from the 1980s, the bust line would probably be higher and larger. The 1980s, the shoulders would be broader. This is a smaller shoulder, more of a slope to the shoulder, more of a relaxed, if you could say natural, silhouette. We have dressmakers' torsos, and we also have a 2D mount, which is a form, and it's interesting because it takes away the conversation from the body, and it really makes you focus on the object's form. You know, I just do a strip right here, then.
Oh, yeah.
And then wrap it around the back.
We don't need to wrap around the whole back.
Maybe just not as much.
Okay.
Maybe half of that, because you will see up slightly.
Okay.
So if it falls away, but I think half of that will be fine. You start here. This is the entrance. The little black dresses, they're going to be on platforms, and they're going to be viewed from the front and the side. There's a divider here, which is a scrim. So from this side, you'll see a silhouette of the other black dresses. So you can see them from the back, but you'll just see the silhouette of the dresses. People project their experiences, their opinions onto clothing. Men and women are going to go through this exhibition and look at these garments, and they're all going to feel something different based on their perceptions and based on their experiences. That's the great thing about clothing, is it has that other layer that is so undefinable.